The first snowflakes of winter are falling onto West Germany's industrial heartland outside, but here in the Grugerhalle, the atmosphere promises to be a lot warmer as Monica Seles, the teenager, Florida-based but born in Yugoslavia, goes against Manuela Maleeva of Bulgaria in the final, that is going to produce a purse of $200,000 to the winner, the highest ever for women's tennis in Europe. With me, former British Davis Cup captain John Barrett. John, Manuela Maleeva is going to go up against a youngster who she's lost to 3 times this year already. Surely an enormous confidence boost for Monica.
I think that's absolutely right. And furthermore, she's beaten 3 of the top 4 players in the world here this week. She's beaten Sabatini, Garrison, and yesterday Sanchez in a thrilling match, 6-2, 6-2. She's really at the top of her form. I think the interesting thing here, though, is for both of them, this is the last event of the year. They've got Christmas and the New Year holiday to look forward to, nothing to lose, everything to go for. And really, we've seen the whole future of women's tennis. This has been a marvellous week, and I think we're going to have a marvellous final. And I'm going to pick Seles.
Well, I wouldn't like to disagree with you because Monica Seles is very much the hot property on the women's tour at the moment. We'll be back with the final from Essen, West Germany in a minute. From Essen, West Germany, ESPN brings you the WITA Nokia Masters by Michelob Dry. Inaugural WITA Nokia Masters, a brainchild of Jon Tiriac, better known, of course, as Boris Becker's manager, but a man who delves into other fields like show jumping and now women's tennis. John Barrett with me here at the Grugerhalle. John, this, of course, is the biggest amount of prize money women have ever had in Europe, where they've never really attained the stature or the public interest that the Virginia Slims Tour has in America.
Very true. $500,000 at stake this week entirely. And for the winner today, $200,000. The loser, half as much. That's enough to buy a few Christmas presents.
Very nice to go shopping with. I think what we've seen here this week is a young star confirm herself at the very top of the women's game. Monica Seles is not 16 until next week, but on her first full year as a professional on the Virginia Slims Tour, she's risen to number 6 in the ranking, and this week she has scored victories over 3 players ranked above her. Zina Garrison, Arantxa Sanchez, and Gabriela Sabatini, no less. Quite a performance, John.
And it will be Maleeva to open this match. She won the toss and elected to serve.
Going to hear plenty of grunting as this match proceeds.
Maleeva, 22 years old, born in Sofia, living in Geneva now, married to a tennis coach, incidentally, Francois Franière, a Swiss.
Said he's becoming resigned to being known as Mr. Maleeva. Now already, John, we've seen the incredible power that Monica Seles generates just on the service return.
An unusual player. Maleeva here, an orthodox player by today's standards, as we'll see, but having to hit the ball much harder these days. They all are, because Seles herself generates so much pace.
And Seles just there for the drop shot, but nice reaction from Maleeva.
Jon Tiriac watching proudly from the stands.
Full house.
There he is, the mustachioed figure of Jon Tiriac, who, besides being Becker's manager, was once Ilya Nastasi's partner and manager.
And he's packed the crowds in here, despite the fact that Steffi Graf had to pull out midway through the week after just 2 of her round-robin matches.
Well, perhaps at this early stage, we should suggest what sort of match it's going to be. Clearly, this young lady is going to have to live at the pace that Monica here sets, all her opponents have to do that. And she's going to have to move very quickly, which she does.
So, first game to Maleeva. We'll be back in Essen after this. In Essen, West Germany, we see Manuela Maleeva having held serve in the opening game, and John Barrett, a sign there of a thigh injury, I think, having to play with a strapped leg.
Yes, a little bit of ligament trouble around the knee. Most of today's players are nursing some sort of minor injury or other.
It's been a long year, although Monica Seles, of course, has tried to pace herself through her 15th year. She's played 10 tournaments only.
Well, now here's a marvellous chance for her opponent to try and take the initiative. The serve is not the strength at the moment of Seles. She has a lovely natural length, Maleeva. Good ground stroker. And they'll have to be kept deep, because anything short, this girl will absolutely murder.
It's a very solid two-handed backhand on Maleeva's side. John, would you go for that to attack it, or the forehand?
Oh, what a pity. The opening was there. Well, to answer your question, I think what you've got to do against an opponent who has good shots on both sides is to outguess her, try and go behind her a lot, which is something that Seles here does well. Because Maleeva is quick about the court. Well played.
It's the second time we've seen Maleeva test Seles with the drop shot. Won her both points.
Well, it's very important now to make Seles play this return. It's a break point, and it would be a great psychological blow for Maleeva if she could make this break here.
It's a sign of a champion in the making, if you can come up with the big serve when you need it most. And as John Barrett was saying, the serve is not this girl's strength at the moment.
Advantage, Miss Maleeva.
Second break point.
And I suspect that she's just a little bit keyed up at the moment for this important final. Good serve. Lovely natural match player. She likes nothing better to be out than being out on the court competing. You're probably hearing on our effects microphones the grunt that Seles makes every time she hits the ball. It can be very off-putting. She hasn't gone off the top of our gruntometer yet this week. The decibels are a little lower than they were at Brighton a couple of weeks ago, the tournament she reached the final in.
No, that was just wide. recovered.
An absolutely packed house today, about 6,000 people, the Gruger seats.
Yes, interesting to note, John, that despite Steffi Graf's enforced withdrawal halfway through the week, the crowds have not gone down since. Young Tyriak has been able to fill this place every single day from Thursday on.
Yes, she is just a little bit tense at the moment, Monica Seles. I suppose at the age of 15, that's quite permissible. Not 16 until next Saturday. She'll have a birthday in France, where she's going next week.
Third break point. It's the first time she's missed her first serve on a break point.
Nearly missed the second.
Crept over.
I'm afraid the lob was far too short. We'll say it again. She does well to reach that, Seles, but even better to direct it as close to the line as that. But really, the lob could have been much higher.
Not Seles read that drop shot very well, because it was a last-moment dab by Maleeva.
Seles, the only player in the world in the women's game who hits with both hands on both sides.
It's a great backhand.
And it's now become a really important game. The longer it goes on, the more vital it is for Maleeva here to achieve the break.
Break point number 4, come and gone.
And the sort of thing that could happen here, if she were to lose all these chances of breaking the serve, she could suddenly be overwhelmed.
Certainly Monica has the capacity to blow away opponents. She's done it here this week. She's done it against players higher ranked than Manuela Maleeva too. Gabriela Sabatini, 6-2, 6-2. That was quite a breakthrough for Monica Seles against the third ranked player in the world.
3 sets against Garrison. 1-6, 6-4, 6-1. This is in the round robin section. And Sukova, who was injured, was beaten 3-1.
And there she comes through after surviving 4 break points. Monica Seles 1-all in the first set.
And I think we're likely to see the errors that she's been perpetrating cut out. And if she does find the lines as in her customary fashion, I'm afraid that Maleeva is going to have too much to do. Both these girls had fine junior records. Seles here started playing at the age of 9 and won the Sport Goofy. That was the under-12s tournament in Florida when she was 9. And Maleeva, she was an Orange Bowl under-14s champion in 1981.
First double fault of the match. Maleeva, having had those 4 break points in the last game, will now be desperate not to have a letdown. It's love 30. And now love 14.
Well, rather what I feared, I'm afraid, Richard. It does tend to happen if you have a long game with lots of chances. The crowd, as they always do in Germany, trying to lift the underdog. 3 break points. She swung too early at that attempted winner on the backhand. But she has this wonderfully aggressive outlook. And once she starts to get a little bit stronger physically and moves a little better and improves her serve, I think she will become the world's #1.
Prediction there from John Barrett. But Maleeva equal to everything on that point. She needed to be. She's still a break point down. And one wonders how long that leg will be able to stand the kind of exercise Monica's going to give it.
She played awfully well yesterday, this girl, against Sabatini. 3 sets it was, 6-3 in the third.
There it is, the break for Monica Seles. We'll be back at the WITA Nokia Masters after this. Germany, a reminder, at 3 p.m. live Eastern Standard Time today, you can see the World Cup skiing from Park City, Utah. But at the moment we have snow here too in West Germany, not worrying us inside the Kruger Halle, as Monica Seles is 2-1 up with the break against Manuela Maleeva.
It is quite remarkable. This young lady hits as hard as she does and makes so few errors. We've seen more errors in the first 2 games than we've seen for most of the week from her, because she was keyed up for this match. But that sort of shot really is unanswerable. And Richard, you know, we've talked about her being ranked 6th in the world. Really, she's playing at #3, isn't she?
Well, Ted Tinling, the great sage of women's tennis, came here on Wednesday, flew in from New York, where he'd been at the Virginia Slims Championships. One-hander suddenly. And it pays off. And Ted, who tends to know about these things, said Monica Seles is the 3rd best player in the world already, and she proceeded to back him up rather startlingly by beating, as we said, Gabriela Sabatini, Zina Garrison and Arantxa Sanchez in consecutive days. The 3 players ranked above her, apart of course from Steffi Graf and Martina Navratilova.
1-3.
Well, Manuela will have to make those volleys. But I think, John, it's the right approach, isn't it? She has to get in and put some pressure on from the net. difficult, however, against this kind of power.
No, that I see. Love 13.
Yes, I'm afraid that it is the mental battle that this girl is already winning. Most tennis matches are played in the mind, and it was that long second game which was her undoing.
Well,
very lucky, broke a string.
Can't get much luckier than that. Breaking a string, getting the net cord.
Here it is again.
And having the ball fall
It was
in.
going to be a fine return anyway, had it gone over without the aid of the net, because it was such a sharp, short angle. But she loves to get on with it.
Yes, what a contrast in the way this girl plays the game as far as pace is concerned compared with someone like Ivan Lendl, running back to receive serve. Never see that.
She's got it.
Tap. So, 4-1, Monica Seles leads in the first set here in Essen, West Germany. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back to the Grugerhalle in Essen, West Germany, where we're watching Monica Seles against Manuela Maleeva in the final of the WITA Nokia Masters. A $500,000 event organized by Jon Tyriak, and that means the biggest prize money ever offered to women in Europe. $200,000 to the winner, and John Barrett, it looks very much at the moment as if that $200,000 is going to go to the young girl who'll be 16 next week, Monica Seles. She leads 4-1 and serving.
And if you're right, that will just about double her career prize money. $241,000 she's won. Only turned pro in February.
Lovely approach shot there from the Bulgarian.
It's been very noticeable how all the girls have had to hit the ball harder. The ultimate frustration there, because she should have killed the ball, the short ball, in the course of this rally. She had the chance. Now she's right out of it. Once she gives her the ball midway up the court to Seles, well, she'll kill it on either side.
Multi-dexterous and multi-talented, I think you could say, this young lady who is certainly burning up the women's circuit at the moment. Somehow appropriate given the current climate that both these young ladies come from Eastern Europe, although of course Monica is very much a resident of Florida at the moment.
Well, rather the sort of pattern that was almost inevitable after that long second game, where 4 times Maleeva had a chance to break the Seles serve and failed. And she's a player rather like that, I'm afraid, Maleeva. This young lady making her work just too hard.
Something of a tour veteran at the age of 22.
Yes.
Maleeva's been around quite a long time. Well, we're seeing a lot of drop shots today, John, and Seles has taken a leaf out of Maleeva's book because she started them. Now she's getting her own medicine back.
Somebody who always tries to use the drop shot intelligently is Arantxa Sanchez, but yesterday Seles was reading her attempted drops very well. All you can say is, too good.
No answer to that kind of thing.
Love 13.
2 points away from the first set.
Bitter with 10.
She's only dropped one set here this week, Monica Seles to Zina Garrison.
Rising 5. 30 all.
Close.
Rising field. 30, 40.
Sort of call that goes against you when you're in trouble. And set point now for Monica Seles.
Einstein reduced.
Wow.
Well, it was Martina Navratilova, wasn't it, John, during the Virginia Slims Championships in New York, who said she'd never seen anyone hit as hard a ball as Monica did off one shot.
That's right, and just escaping 7-5 in the final set against her that day. Well played. And I think, Richard, this so very exciting for all those viewers at home to see the future face of world tennis, women's world tennis. These two young ladies are going to be involved for some years, I would fancy, at the top of the game. Great to think also that on this very channel you'll be able to see all the best men in the world next week at the Nabisco Masters, Madison Square Garden.
Double fault. And the expression says it all. Manuela Maleeva had a chance there, having saved a set point to win her second game of the match, but double fault.
Oh, it's in. She has a nasty habit of winging off like that and getting them on the line. So a second set point.
And a second double fault, and that time it is fatal. The first set to Monica Seles in exactly 30 minutes. And watching another devastating performance from the hot young lady on the Pro Tour, Monica Seles. Florida-based, born in Yugoslavia, leading Manuela Maleeva of Bulgaria 6-1. After the first set, it took her just 30 minutes. A reminder, of course, that Steffi Graf, the world #1, had to pull out of this tournament midway through the round-robin matches. She won both her round-robin matches, but Pavel Slozil, her coach, decided that her physical condition was such that he didn't want her to continue. Pulled stomach muscle was the problem.
Yes, it was ironic that, wasn't it? When you think that it was an ankle injury at
15 all.
Madison Square Garden that threatened her progress there, but it in the end made no difference. She won the title. And she comes here and pulls the stomach muscle.
Steffi was also playing with a bandaged finger on her left hand, so she was rather in the wars. Fantastic drop shot and a brave effort by Manuela to get there, but just not quite quick enough. As soon as Steffi did depart Essen, the way was very much clear for Monica to show just what she's capable of. And she did it with a vengeance against Gabriela Sabatini, 6-2, 6-2.
That was on Friday. And yesterday, a similar score against Sanchez.
Double fault. The French Open champion, Arantxa Sanchez, of course, not at her best on a medium-paced indoor carpet, which obviously favours someone who hits the ball as hard as Seles does.
She didn't do badly on the clay herself at the French Championships, reached the semi-final and pushed Graf very hard indeed, 6-3 in the third.
She can certainly play on all surfaces. I remember first seeing her against Sabatini in the Lipton International in Key Biscayne. 7-6 the first set, and Gabriela was somewhat surprised by the 14-year-old across the net.
Einstein, yes.
Just going to change the racket again, is she? Or perhaps... Yes, it looks like another broken string. The grunt you're hearing was the result of an opponent she faced way back in the Sport Goofy days, those under-12 tournaments in Miami, or rather in Orlando. And her opponent so put her off doing it that she thought, well, I'll jolly well show you that I can grunt too, and she's been doing it ever since.
It's not something that everybody should copy, I don't think, unless they feel it absolutely necessary.
Yes, I'm afraid there is a touch of resignation now about Maleeva, who hasn't won a set from this young lady in 3 meetings this year. The Virginia Slims of Washington, 2 and 4 on a carpet. The French Open, 3 and 5. And Brighton a couple of weeks ago, 3 and 2 on a carpet like this.
Game is Seles.
So the opening game of the second set also goes to Monica Seles, now in hot pursuit of the $200,000 first prize here in Essen. We'll return. We can take a moment to remind you that next week, for the 4th consecutive year, ESPN will be giving you complete 6-day coverage of the Nabisco Masters. The best 8 men players in the world, 5 of them American, and 3, of course, from Europe.
Yes, that is going to be a thriller to me. You've got Lendl, the world #1, Boris Becker, the hottest property at the moment, Stefan Edberg, and the 5 Americans you've mentioned. Brad Gilbert, Kurt Steen, John McEnroe, of course, and everybody wants to see how well he can play.
He's very keen to do that because it will be the last Nabisco Masters at Madison Square Garden. New tour next year for the men, but here in Essen, West Germany, we are seeing Manuela Maleeva struggle against the young lady from Yugoslavia, Monica Seles. Still 15 for another week at least. And playing with a maturity beyond her years and a power that we have seldom seen in women's tennis.
Never seen.
Yes,
As good a judge as Ted Tinling, who we mentioned earlier, believes that nobody has hit the ball consistently as hard as this, and the only shot you could compare with it really is Steffi Graf's forehand. But this girl does it on both sides and at times hits even harder than Steffi. I mean, look at that. What can you say? It just shows you what you have to do to keep her at bay. You've got to get a lot of first balls in. One of the recognised ways of playing a two-hander is to slice the ball wide to take them out of court, but that's very dangerous, and it is perfect because she just takes a wing at the ball and can easily knock off a clean winner. She does it all the time. Plays good shots on the wide balls.
Yes, you see, that's just too good. Manuela did very well to reply on the forehand, deep, but before she could recover any kind of position in the court, the reply was past her, flashing down the line. Really no answer.
All I can do is laugh, really.
Not such a laughing matter when you're on the other side of the net. Maleeva will be wondering what on earth she can do to stem this barrage.
Little unlucky, I think. It would have been a beautiful serve. It must have been awfully close.
Good play by Maleeva. She hit the ball firm and solid, as Jimmy Connors might say, during that rally. And of course she needs to. And when she got the opportunity to come in, she just managed to control the half volley.
It's a pity that this is so difficult for Maleeva because she had a marvellous season this year. Her best really since '84 when she won 5 tournaments at the age of 17. We all thought then there was a great talent. She's never quite fulfilled herself in my book.
Now that was a little ambitious by Monica. And it's given Manuela Maleeva her second game of the match.
Let's see how she did it. The drop shot was telegraphed and it wasn't a very good one. Anyway, she's just beginning now to overuse that shot. It must be used very sparingly.
And John, talking about the power, the quality of tennis that these girls play, I mean, there's Mrs. John Barrett, otherwise Angela Mortimer, Wimbledon champion. The girls of her day really must look at this game and fail to recognize it.
It is a different game, and largely because they're playing with rackets made of new materials. The era you were speaking of, everyone used wood, and the ball is projected so much faster off the face with graphite frames. The larger heads make it easier to play than it used to be. It's an easier game now. And of course, everyone today, it seems, certainly among the men, is a fine athlete too. They train better, they're stronger, bigger. Oh, well played.
Good hitting from Manuela Maleeva.
Yes, that was one of the best rallies we've seen, in fact.
showing signs of refusing to be intimidated there.
and living at the Seles pace at last.
Sunset right. 15-30.
Well, the approach shot needs to be as good as that last one was. It was perfect for length. The family of Seles moved from Novi Sad in Yugoslavia.
Rising Spider, 30 all.
Back in 1986, and they've been in Florida ever since. Just looking at that knee again, I don't think it's hampering Maleeva's movement. She's scampered about the court pretty well.
Rising 40.
And you know, you must give a lot of the credit, Richard, to Seles's development, to Nick Bollettieri. His camp down at Bradenton in Florida is where she resides and plays, and where she's developed her tennis. Though her father, Carol, who's here with her, as he always is, and mother, Esther, but it was Carol who first taught her to play. Oh, the drive volley.
The drive volley saving break point.
Einstand, deuce.
The fearlessness of youth. Not too many players would go for that shot in that circumstance.
And she's a very bright girl, this too. When you talk to her, her eyes sparkle and she's quick as a flash on the repartee. Oh, what a pity. It was a good idea to go behind her,
Advantage, Miss Seles.
and if Seles had got that, it would have been a fairly weak reply, I think. She may not have got it either. And by such small margins, a match is turned. It would have been a break point, but as it is, game point to Seles. George Grime is in the chair, a wing commander in the Royal Air Force, a dental officer. Oh, that's brilliant. A perfect approach, perfectly answered.
So Monica Seles survives a little bit of trouble
2 zu 1.
and continues to lead Manuela Maleeva by a set, and 2-1. We'll return to Essen, West Germany in a minute. $500,000 in prize money for 8 of the very best women players in the world. Monica Seles leading Manuela Maleeva 6-1 and 2-1 on serve in the second set. And Maleeva showing signs, John, of holding her own now.
No passing.
Yes, she's been just a little bit unlucky with some very close balls to the lines.
She had a break point in the third game against the Seles serve. And Monica came up with a drive volley to win it.
Spider, 15 all.
She won't compromise, will she? She obviously was worried by the bounce, but she still went for that shot.
Rising 36.
Well, now that's what she's got to hope for, a few
13,
unforced
15.
errors by making her opponent guess on serve. Monica moving just a weeny bit late. rally that. Both girls keeping a superb length.
14-15.
Seems to me, John, that she's starting to get her own rhythm, Manuela, and starting to be a little more comfortable with the pace that's being fired at her.
You were saying?
No chance with that one. She has to be able to get her racket on the ball.
The trouble with playing an opponent like Seles is that the whole tempo of the match is dictated by her. So you've got to either be prepared to live at her pace, which she has done fairly successfully in this early part of the second set, though she was swamped in the latter part of the first, or you've got to try and break her up.
Yes, I was surprised that Gabriela Sabatini didn't try to break her up more when they met on Friday. And Monica Seles seemed quite happy with the fact that Gabriela tried to out-hit her. And Sabatini went down 6-2, 6-2, as we've said.
Well, when somebody is hitting the ball as hard as she is at you, it's very difficult to... Well played. It's very difficult to hit to a length any high topspin drives, which is what Sabatini
Advantage, Miss Maleeva.
does like to do. This court is just a bit too fast for that. And of course, if you miss time an attempted looping shot and it lands half court, good night.
Einstein, use.
Yes, she is absolutely relentless, a true tigress, this girl. And we all knew when we saw her giving Steffi Graf such trouble at the French Championships what the other girls would be in store for, in for.
Advantage, Miss Maleeva.
But a few more adventurous forays to the net like that would be just right. Ball served. Out, guessed her again.
Zwei 2 games all.
And how nice to think, Richard, that people in 34 nations around the world will be seeing these two fine young women who are going to play such a major part in the game's development, thanks to Andy Brilliant's efforts of the ESPN International Department. All those countries seeing it.
Note for the same. Love 15.
Well, Monica has a match on her hands now. There was a chance she was just going to blast her way through to victory here, but it seems that Manuela is going to stay with her for a little bit longer anyway, even if Seles comes up with shots like that, which he will continue to do.
Same by 15 all.
Let's have a look at that one again. Beautiful preparation here. The racket comes back. The timing is perfect. The footwork was good. And all the weight of the body, of that frail body, went into it.
Rising 15.
And all that power,
15.
remarkable in such a small frame. 5'8", 115 pounds, and she's grown about 4 inches in the last year.
Yeah, she certainly filled out a little, which she needed to do, because she was a very spindly young girl indeed when I first saw her at Key Biscayne.
But that will happen naturally, and as she gets stronger, she's going to be really formidable because she'll be quicker, her serve will improve. Well played.
Rising Spider, 30 all.
Getting a half-court ball herself that time. That's another thing that she doesn't often give you, Seles. She keeps a marvellous length naturally.
40, Rising, 14, 30.
Only once has Maleeva held a break point. Game 3 of this set.
Fault. Spiel. Game is settled.
I should have said, of course, in this set there were the 3 or 4 in the second game of the match that she failed.
Führt 3-2.
So, Monica Seles, after this. Nearly 6,000 people are watching Monica Seles and Manuela Maleeva battle it out for the $200,000 top prize here at the WITA Nokia Masters. Even the loser gets to take home $100,000, and we have a little query.
Yes, George Grime has put that right. It was a hasty call, which the linesperson
Erster Aufschlag.
admitted, so it's first serve.
Fault.
Oh, that's an overrule.
That was long.
Bitte Ruhe.
The line calling hasn't been infallible this week, but not too bad, and the girls have accepted just about everything that's come their way.
No,
A loss of concentration there by Maleeva after the disruption of the overrule.
She has a great pedigree for this game. Manuela, her mother, Julia Barbarian, was so many times the champion of Bulgaria herself.
No 30. Love 30.
9 times in all she was the champion, her mother. And she has a sister who is on the circuit, Katerina, and another sister, a younger one, who's, they say, going to be as good as either of the older ones. So they've contributed greatly both to Bulgarian tennis and to European tennis.
Rising, 15, 30.
Yes, they must rate with the Sanchez family as the leading tennis family of Europe. Marisa Sanchez is Arantxa's older sister. In fact, the eldest of the 4 siblings, 2 brothers, 2 sisters. She's now on the circuit as well. After 4 years at Pepperdine University in California, Marisa Sanchez is going to try and emulate Arantxa's feats, but I think that will be something of a tall order.
And the crowd once again, without any sort of venom in it, against Seles, are trying to raise the spirits of the game of Maleeva.
And 3 forehand errors in that game ruined any chance Manuela Maleeva had of staying on level terms in the second set.
Seles führt 4-2. Leads 4
And
games to 2.
that gives Monaco the break to lead 4-2 with the first set in her pocket 6-1. And victory looms larger. Fractionally,
Love 15.
Looking at it again, it barely missed the line and would have been a clean winner, of course, if it had clipped it. Well played. Exposing the relative slowness about the court of Seles. But it's a difficult facet of her game to get at, simply because she doesn't allow the rallies to develop very long. Yes, good length.
So, 3 chances for the breakback by Manuela Maleeva.
Oh, what a pity.
She was there.
Well, in situations like that, you have to decide to go one way or the other, and this is what this girl did. It was a little bit unlucky not to be able to push it quietly down the line for a winner. Still break point.
Great rally. One of the best rallies of the match. Great power hitting from both girls from the baseline. Saves the second break point.
Well played. There's the break.
The break back for Manuela Maleeva to pull her back to 3-4 in the second set against Monica Seles. But the first set to Miss Seles. We'll be back in Essen, West Germany after this.
Meine Damen und Herren,
Utah. So Monica Seles, who had established a 4-2 lead in the second set, has been pegged back to 4-3, dropping her serve in the last game.
Love 15.
Yes, you see, she's having to go for the lines. And too often, I'm afraid, the error is the result.
Great play by Monica Seles. She did so well to get that ball on the forehand side and return it with such interest.
Love 30.
Yes, she has wonderful hands, this girl. Her control of the angle of the racket face is purely instinctive, coming from hours of practice and training. Every now and again, she's surprised
15-30.
by either the direction or the power of the Maleeva serve. That's just what you should do. Keep your opponent off balance. It's in.
Well, I think, John, if European audiences, especially on the continent, because it's been slightly different in England,
As
here we see that forehand from Maleeva win that point. They've certainly had a taste of women's tennis and what it can offer in terms of excitement and quality here in Essen this week, and I think Jon Tyriak's idea of bringing a tournament of this size to Europe has certainly proved successful.
Well played.
Very nice play by Maleeva, proving that she can volley when she can get into the net.
And it was the approach here that was good, because it forced Seles very wide, and that rather defensive poke on the forehand enabled Maleeva to wrong foot her. And a good serve.
That's an ace.
Looking at it again, beautifully struck, just clipping the edge of the line. Well, she deserved that. She's missed the line by inches too many times today. Her first ace. 4-all.
Maleeva striking back,
Love 15.
and for the first time she has her nose in front in this second set. 4-all, love 15. First set to Monica Seles, 6-1.
No dricing. Love 13.
Now, this is rather like the situation we had in the second game of the match, the longest game of the match, which went to 6 deuces. And there were 4 break points, all of which Seles saved. Brilliant.
It's too good.
Love 14.
3 break points now. Any one of them would leave Maleeva serving for the set.
That's the Aufschlag. First service. Correction, and the ball was an ace. 15.
Yes, there'll be no replaying of the point, because in the opinion of the umpire, there was no way that her opponent would have reached it.
Crowd don't like it, but it's George Grimes' call.
And a good one.
Bitte Ruhe. Danke. Danke.
Well, I hope that won't depress Maleeva. She still has the 2 break points. She must just forget that now. It's gone. She can't get it back. Seles' second ace, incidentally.
Wait, please, wait.
Yes, they'll just wait for the
First service.
crowd to quieten down.
There it is, the breakthrough that Manuela Maleeva has fought so hard to achieve, and when we return to Essen, Manuela Maleeva will be serving for the second set.
Leads 5-4. Second set.
Welcome back to the Grugerhalle in Essen, West Germany, where Manuela Maleeva of Bulgaria is preparing to serve for the second set, having clawed her way back into the match from 2-4 down, and the loss of that first set 6-1. Well, Monica's not going to be intimidated by the situation she suddenly finds herself in. Still going for those shots.
A couple of good first serves that help enormously here. There's one.
Maleeva was able to get back with a lot of good net play once she managed to find the approach shot.
And somebody out of your picture is just running in front of the stands and has now reached, is now coming back again.
I think there's a problem with someone in the stands. I think someone has been taken ill, and that is causing the problem.
They're trying to keep the crowd quiet while the match continues, and we'll try and keep you up to date with what is happening in the stands just to the right of our commentary box.
The match will continue.
So it's 15-all. Another of those narrow misses.
That's where the errors have come from, isn't it, John, on the forehand?
Mostly. A lot of the Seles attack has been directed there. There it is again, forcing the error into the forehand corner there.
15-40.
So 2 break points to get back into this set for Monica Seles.
But they want to see a third set here.
No wonder, because the tennis has been of high quality.
Well done. Another of those good serves. Well, I suggest this first serve had better be in, because Seles will just tee off on the second. Oh, what a pity. So 4 of the last 5 games have been breaks of serve, leaving it even at 5-all. And you felt there that Maleeva didn't quite believe enough. Just out of your picture, the gentleman is being helped out of the stands. He it was, I think, who collapsed just now.
15 now.
This is a key game right now. Seles has lost her last 2 service games. Well played.
Went back behind her. Very clever play by Monica Seles. After one of the most interesting rallies of the match, that sudden change of pace.
And for the first time, the play is being dictated until the end of the rally by Maleeva. And her slow balling tactics answered very intelligently by Seles here to a good length until she got the opportunity for that very sharp angle.
Yeah, she doesn't miss the short return. Great play from Monica Seles in these last 2 games after Maleeva got herself into the position of serving for the second set.
Oh, it's lovely to watch.
And so, Monica Seles breaks the serve, holds her own, and leads 6-5 in the second set. We'll be back in Essen after this.
Should have a classical
Grugahalle in Essen, West Germany, where Manuela Maleeva of Bulgaria is serving to save the match, having just 2 games ago served for the second set, but been repulsed by this amazing 15-year-old Monica Seles, the face of the future in women's tennis.
No further save.
Yes, I was just thinking how lucky the game is that at a time when Chris Evert has retired, when Martina Navratilova is nearing the end of her career, we have such exciting young players to look forward to in the next decade. These two certainly, and young Jennifer Capriati, who's going to join the women's tour at the start of next year.
Yes, I believe she's going to play in the Lipton Players International at Key Biscayne. Two points away from victory, Monica Seles. And certainly Jennifer Capriati has given every sign of being ready to join the Women's Pro Tour. That 6-love victory over Britain's Claire Wood in the Whiteman Cup. Quite an astonishing result for a 13-year-old going into her first big international match. And match points for Monica Seles. Match points for a $200,000 first prize here in Essen at the inaugural WITA Nokia Masters. What an achievement if she can do it. 1 week off her 16th birthday, 3 match points.
It is typical of her personality that she went for the grandstand finish. The blazing backhand. Still match points. Good serve. Yes. Fast enough and wide enough to force the error.
Still match point.
What a good rally.
Great play by Manuela Maleeva on match point, saving 3 of them now. A rally worthy of the standard of tennis we've seen here this afternoon between these two girls. Great advertisement for the women's game, especially in Europe, where they still maybe need a little bit of convincing.
Oh, now if we look at Seles, she may have wrenched her left ankle there as she
Advantage, Miss Maleeva.
came to a stop. Just out of your picture, she grimaced a little bit, looked down at her left leg. I hope nothing has happened. No, she's all right.
I think so. I was just thinking, John, very happy introduction to his new job. Jerry Smith, former publisher of Newsweek, taken over the Women's International Tennis Association, is here today, and he must be very impressed.
Oh, I think, no, it's in. I thought she just missed that, but it landed on the line.
Advantage, Miss Maleeva.
So this for a tiebreak.
Bitte.
Having saved 3 match points in this game.
Thank you.
Great fighting performance by the Bulgarian. 22-year-old from Sofia.
Oh, that's good. Deadly in the forecourt. Absolutely deadly. Instinctively, she puts enough spin on the ball just to dip it sharply onto the line. Deuce again. Well, about 7 or 8 times today she's caught Monica Seles with that penetrating first serve, but there has been a lack of consistency about it, I'm afraid, which really there has to be if you're going to make any lasting impression against her. And that's what happens to the second ones.
Fatal. Just can't afford short second serves against a young woman who hits the returns this hard. Just amazing propulsion of a tennis ball.
Glorious to watch the full-blooded power of this young lady's ground strokes. Match point for the 4th time.
And they've enjoyed it here in Essen, and they're still giving Manuela all the support they can. They want to see this continue, but will it? They think that was long, but it was in. And a final rally worthy of the quality of play we've seen here in the WITA Nokia Masters as Monica Seles wins the title over Manuela Maleeva. 6-1, 7-5. And at the age of 15 years and 11 months and 3 weeks is $200,000 richer.
An hour and 27 minutes it has taken. A wonderful display of power hitting. The sort of match which makes you decide, makes you realise just what potential this young girl has, who won't be 16 till next Saturday. And frankly, if nothing goes wrong, I cannot see how she will fail to be eventually the world's #1.
Well, Steffi Graf and Martina Navratilova, of course, will still have plenty to say about that. But with 3 victories over 3 players ranked above her here this week, there's no doubt at all that Monica Seles has propelled herself right to the top of the women's game. And so, from Essen, West Germany, we say goodbye